What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and we are apparently in Subaru headquarters. The last week I've been doing nothing but Subarus. I've had like 5 of them I'm working on. Don't know what the trend is or what it is, but before I put you on stand, but I don't know what's going on with the transmission stuff. We've done power steering, did a timing belt on one, I did knock sensors and O2 sensors, another transmission issue. There will be a video on that coming up probably after this one. Then what else was it? We got this one, taking the engine out of this one, putting it into a different car. Engines are expensive on these used. They're about $3,500, somewhere around there, for a good used engine. And the customer bought this entire car off of Copart. It was hit with a tree. Bought the entire car for $2,100, something like that, on Copart. So got a great deal, and he can use parts on his as he needs them. But enough blabbering. We're going to get this engine out of here. We've already had Freon pulled from here. Subaru makes these pretty easy to pull out. There's a two master connectors. The only wires you'll have to really take off of the engine is going to be your electrical stuff for your charging and starting, your alternator, and then your AC right here. You can pull that to the side, and then on the back here, the starter, you pull that ground wire, and then 2 more ground wires off each head that's on the bottom. And then you pull your exhaust, motor mounts, torque converters, little stuff like that. But we'll show you all that as we go. Pretty basic, pull these out. All you really need is a 10, 12, 14, I think maybe a 17 for a couple of things, can't remember. But I know 10, 12, and 14. Hose pliers, clamp pliers, something like that. Flathead screwdriver and drain bucket for oil and coolant. And then we'll take the AC lines and power steering lines off and exhaust, and you can pull this thing out. I've seen videos of people having these pulled out in less than an hour. But we're just going to take it a little bit slower so we can kind of show y'all where everything is. But first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some tools, and I'm going to disconnect the battery. Once I do that, we'll come back, and then I'll start showing you how to pull everything off and what needs to come off to take this out. Get y'all zoomed in a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull these 2 AC lines. Shouldn't be hardly any, if any at all, in these, because we did have it drained, and don't want to let Freon out in the air because that is illegal. So we try to stay compliant. Shouldn't be much in here. Yeah, it's not much in there. Yeah. Like I said, they drained it. There wasn't really that much in here. We'll have to reinstall fluid or Freon once we get the engine in the other car. Okay. Now we got that. Just push them out of the way however you can, just to get them to move. Then next we're going to remove the intake system, your intake system. Just a flat blade. There's another one over here, but you can actually take the whole box off. See that on camera?
I'm on camera?
Yeah.
We're famous now.
Yep. If you say so.
Jesus.
Where?
I bet this thing smells like mildew.
Taking the connector for the alternator off now. There's a little cover that sits on that. That is going to be a 12. Get these off. AC connector. And have a little body clip right there. Get your little trim tool to top it up with. Be careful, there is a, well, usually is, yeah. Usually a washer on these alternators. Grab my trim tool. Slide right underneath there if you can. There we go. And now, there's one more right here. And there we go. Get that wiring harness out of the way. Air filter, that one don't look too bad. Maybe save it for them. That way if they need to, they can reuse that. Now, I'm going to try to zoom in. Wrong way. See that fuel line? Okay. Some of them are built this way. Some of them are the little clips you want to slide in. So, here's my pick. Be careful. Don't break these if you're doing this with your good engine. Or good car, I should say. If yours are this way. Alright, now, before I pull that off, put a rag around it. There we go. Now, the other line that's underneath here is just your return line. So it's got just a little squeeze clamp like a regular hose. And then I can pull that off. Be right back. I was summoned. Alright, so it took a little longer to help out than I thought I was going to, but it's alright. So I think we left off was on the fuel lines. We took those off, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn y'all around. So that is where your master connectors are, right there. And other than the alternator and starter areas, this is the only place that you're going to have to take the connectors off of. And there's like a little tab. And push down. Get it coming down. Okay. Release. There it goes. You push down on it and then pull back. And then the brown one is just a little tab. And you pull back like that on that one. And then get a pick. I had a pick somewhere. Get a little pick. Tab, if I can get my pick underneath there without stabbing myself. There we go. With that up, pull this out and set it to the side. Alright, now we got that. We'll just grab our 10. I'm going to go ahead and take my throttle body off just so I can get up around in here and get all these little bell housing bolts and stuff like that out. Where's, I don't think I can get it. Might be able to get it in there. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Fourth one's going to be hard to get to, so I'll just use a ratchet. And I don't even know if I'm pointing y'all at the throttle body. I'm not. But I got 3 of them out. Got the 4th one to get. There. that. Now, behind the intake is your starter. Ooh, I was zoomed in. So your starter's right here. Your throttle body is right beside here. On the right side, looking at the car, is your starter. We're going to take that little ground wire off. 12. I just broke it loose. I should be able to screw it out with my fingers. That's my ground. And then the starter, there is a connector right here. I think that's a 12 on that. And then you're going to have a little blade connector, but it does have a little tab. You squeeze it and it pulls out. And then you can get that off of there. And to pull a starter, there is a 14 right here, and then directly underneath here, you can't see, but it's almost straight down, not at an angle, but straight down, there's another 14. And the way I like to get to that one is, first I'm going to pull these heater hoses off, and it gives you more room, just because we are pulling the engine. You got to take them off anyway. But if you're just changing the starter, you can actually go in through here and underneath and get it. But we'll worry about the starter later. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling the radiator out on this, just because it does give me a lot more room to pull everything. I believe these are the little twist ones. Yeah. Just turn them. Come on. Yeah, be gentle with it. There it goes. Because once they get some age on them, they're not like to screw it out. Sets up at an angle, and this whole box piece comes out. I'll stick these back in just for the time being. Ugh. It's just easy to lose these little pieces like that. Alright, now this one's got so some of them have like a metal guard underneath there. I think it's the model before this that had that, but just in case, I'll go ahead and tell y'all about it. But there is on some of them a metal guard that goes on there. It kind of protects it from the heat. It's like a heat shield, and 2 bolts go into the fans themselves. But I don't believe it's this model, like I said. But take fans out, 2 tins on each fan, and then on the driver's side one, you're going to have the overflow reservoir. Most time these pull out like that. Get you a screwdriver on this side over here. Make sure I'm showing y'all. Push that tab in, push out, and this will come out pretty easy. And your other pin is behind that. Now the driver's side has transmission lines hooked into like a little made-in bracket on this fan. So it does make it a little bit more difficult to get this fan off. We're going to loosen this one. And I'm not going to pull them out until I drain the coolant and get the coolant all out of here, so I can take this upper radiator hose off. Gives me a lot more room to pull everything. But it kind of gives you an idea of what you need to do. A lot of times you can go ahead and get this one out if you want to, but since I'm taking the radiator hose off anyway, I'm just going to wait until I get it off of here. Give me a drain pan, I'm going to stick it underneath the car. Got a drain pan underneath here. Hose clamp. Good grip on it. Hose clamp. There we go. Radiator hose is off. Connector is down here. The connector is just a little squeeze tab and you pull it off. That's your passenger side. The driver's side is a little bit harder to reach. So what I'm talking about is that right there. Some of them, the hoses go in there. But this one doesn't have the hoses on it. Alright, now we can get ready to pull the radiator. We just got to get the lower radiator hose. And it's just the same as top, just 2 squeeze clamps. And then after you do that, you can pull the lower radiator hose. Then underneath these right here, there's 2 12s. And you pull that, and then the radiator will lift right out of here. So let me get this lower radiator hose, and then whenever I get ready to pull this radiator out, I'm just going to use a wrench on these, just because you can get to them pretty easy with a wrench on this. If you want to, you can pull these little pieces right here up and out of the way, but to be honest, I don't see where it's going to be a big issue to get to it. But if you want to, like I said, they just go underneath here and pull them up. So get the brackets off, like I said, 2 12s right here to come up. Then we got the lower hose off. Now I've just disconnected the other AC line from the condenser. So yours may be like this, it may not, depending on what year yours is. But some of them, the condenser bolts to this radiator, some of them they don't. Kind of seen it both ways before, so just kind of go off your own judgment as to how yours goes. Now we got the radiator out of the way. As you can see, a lot more room to do stuff, to get the stuff, all that, but it's pretty much everything on the front of this engine that we need to get to, which is the reason we did this was so that we can get more room whenever we're pulling out to come forward, so we don't hit anything and mess up anything. Like, you don't want to mess up your radiator and all that stuff. But plus it allows us to leave all the accessories on this engine, which is great. I love the fact that we can do that. And then you don't even have to mess with the wiring and all this stuff. So all of our next stuff is either going to be under the car or on the back of the engine, because we got to get to all the bell housing bolts. We have to get to the starter, and we have to get to the torque converter bolts, exhaust bolts, and the motor mounts, which is all either under the car or on the back of it. So we should have, on the other car, it was 6 bolts, 2 nuts that held the bell housing bolts, and then there's a little access door to the torque converter, and it was right down below your side your throttle body. Let's see if I can find the flashlight. So right there, that little black piece right there, that is the door you get to your torque converter bolts to, or with, or whatever, however you want to say it. But that's where you get to your torque converter bolts. And you're going to need a 22. I forgot about the 22 on the front. That's your crank bolt to rotate the engine over, and that way you can get them out a little bit at a time. But it's about time to go home today, so this is probably where I'm going to stop for today. Got pretty good progress on these and got pretty far on it. So like I said, we're going to just stop right here, and then we will continue tomorrow, and we're going to start by taking the starter off. So